probably noticed, you should have voter registration forms by every seat. Also, there are some by the tables in the back. We've also managed, I think, to give almost every other person, there they are, a table. Please show your support for Roseanne Barr and the Peace and Freedom Party.
And now, folks, to introduce Roseanne, Mr. Rick Overton.
Hello, peace and freedom humans. Now, let me just get something straight. Are we 99% or 47% before I start printing stuff up at Cafe Press? But the Republicans are the party of non-division. So they just decided to cut 99 into 47 because they're not into dividing. Well, the Republican Party is like an alien invasion, and the Democratic Party is like UFO skeptics during an alien invasion. And we need someone who is brave and honest to place at the wheel of a nation that's hit into a skid and they don't know how to steer into it, like East Coast people do. So what we have on our hands right now is a lot of corruption on either side, a lot of disregard for human life. We need a woman in charge of the most powerful nation on earth right now. I'm more than a patriot, I'm a matriot. I get when someone takes care of the entire sphere and not just a line of chalk drawn in dirt somewhere. And so Roseanne Barr is one of my heroes from the first time I laid eyes upon her on a television set, and I watched her shake the whole world. She took it by its cojones and started steering it like a shopping cart. And I said, this person, I would follow her like General Patton straight to hell and back again. Imagine a world with a woman in charge, or imagine this nation with a woman, and picture it. Picture it, I can picture it. And that's why I want Roseanne Barr to be president. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up on the stage my hero, Roseanne Barr.
Starting with a, uh-oh, something's gonna blow up. It feels me. Hello, okay. I'd like to thank Rick Overton, a good friend of mine, a great comic, for coming down and introducing me. Thank you, Rick. You're a good friend. And here, I'd also like to thank, I forgot your name.
Susie Williams.
Susie Williams, what a voice! Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to come and hear you sing for a whole set. I loved your voice, and thank you for the song. It was so nice, so sweet of you. Thank you. I also want to say thank you to the one person who continues to inspire me and who inspired me, in fact, to run for President of the United States, and that is a great American, former Congressman, Cynthia McKinney. Who is my idol, the bravest woman alive. I love her so much, and so I'd like to begin my remarks tonight. Greetings, Earthlings! First, if you will allow me to say, I really want to say this, I'm not running as a publicity stunt, since my political views have pretty much ended my career anyway. Oh well. I kind of retired to live according to whim and to see what it felt like to write and to say things not for money, but because I believe them to be true. It's been a grand experiment, I must say, at least as a writer. I figured out that running for and actually being the president is just about showing up and giving a speech. I, unlike all other presidential candidates, am my own speechwriter, though I sometimes ask John Argent to comment, correct, or edit a portion of my speech, and he does add a few good thoughts often. But since I figured out that running for president is just about showing up and giving a good speech, I thought, well, hell, I can do that. A good presidential speech, in my opinion, is one which speaks to the voter with common sense regarding his or her actual circumstances in life, and makes a vow or a promise to that voter that their circumstances will be improved, not worsened, simply by the act of voting itself. Unfortunately, this is the way things are currently working in the United States. You see, every vote is a registered name that can be sold to a vendor or called up for jury duty, often at great personal expense to the voters, who are largely forced to serve our ridiculous system of jurisprudence, where only the poor are punished for their crimes. And I should say for their lesser crimes. I'm not running to take votes from Obama. I know that Obama supporters are not capable of changing their minds. Their minds are owned and locked down by the duopolistic fundraising machine of the prison military-industrial complex. Which frightens people into activization of their fear-based mind control programming. You must give your campaign contributions to whichever party causes less fear in you, which is getting hard for the unemployed who fear unceasing unemployment to do since they have no money. And as soon as you cease contributing money, your names are wiped off the voter rolls and you are subsequently disenfranchised, as people in the inner cities are being disenfranchised now at the rate of hundreds of thousands per month due to Republican gerrymandering. Frank Zappa, who was my friend, said that politics is just the entertainment arm of the Pentagon. Way back in 1990, he said that. We definitely do not have a serious choice in this election besides myself. Both parties are owned by banksters. And get this, those same banksters are those to whom we owe the deficit. I am the only serious comedian in this race, ladies and gentlemen. The two-party system serves only one purpose: to funnel public monies into private pockets. To do so, the public must be fleeced continuously, and this can only be accomplished by mass mind control, ironically through the people's airwaves. The people's owned airwaves. Television is used to ceaselessly frighten people into working harder and harder for less and less pay, and to accept without question a false choice as its only choice, the false choice of choosing the lesser of two evils, which is still evil. To choose the lesser evil is no damn choice at all, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up! Wake up! That's nothing but a trick. And I am here not to trick you, but to tell you the truth and offer you a real choice this election. Health care, not health insurance. By employing an actual socialist construct on behalf of the people of this country. Single-payer universal health care. Not Romney care, not Obamacare. I'm running for president to show you that someone who is not owned by an insurance company can still get on the ballot in the United States of America for relatively little money. Certainly less than the $1 billion it takes just to lose an election in America. And why do we need to raise so much money in contributions? You might have guessed it. To buy television advertisements for the campaigns that begin almost the day after the president is sworn into office. Ironically, it is also the prison military-industrial complex who decides what is seen in the media, from the advertisements to the entertainment and the news. Its CEOs also own subsidiary profits, blah, 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 in the insurance industries that profit from treating the various cancers inflicted upon the public through hormone and antibiotic poisoning of the United States food supply. As well as the spraying of chemical poisons in the air to combat the global warming that their own faux science insists does not exist. I'm not making this shit up, folks. It truly takes a comedian to interpret the works of these masters of deception. The media, prison, military, industrial complex. Power is gathered into fewer and fewer and fewer hands. Why have our leaders betrayed us by ensuring our constant sacrifice? One explanation is population control. Agenda 21 and AFRICOM. See, they have to speed up the killing because it's not going fast enough for them these days. And after all, the growing numbers of poor and dispossessed workers worldwide may start to demand a share of the profits they produce. This is a danger and a travesty waiting to happen, a grave injustice in the eyes of the ruling classes, to be forced to share their ill-gotten booty with those they consider to be their slaves. To those trapped in the Demo-Publican matrix, I say go ahead and waste your votes on Obama and Romney. They won't be fairly counted anyway. So it doesn't matter in the least. And if it did, then the Electoral College would step in and choose Bush or whatever bot they wish to be in place to serve as the Manchurian who brings the world to World War III for the profits of the prison military-industrial complex. You people who support that system, you can make a larger statement simply by withholding your vote. Doing nothing as you are accustomed to do by your masters. may indeed serve your interest this one time. Use it. My message is to the 51% of Americans who know this system is not broken but fixed, as in rigged, who never vote because they know it means less than nothing to do so. Please, just this once, won't you register for the Peace and Freedom Party and cast your vote for me and a great American, Cindy Sheehan, who has put her life and her body on the line in the name of her son Casey, who served this country and was killed on its battlefield. Democracy, let's give it a try. Also, I want to say socialism, it's not just for Wall Street anymore. I'm running to give you a real choice in what may be the last real election in the United States of America. Listen to me. You can choose the greater of two goods. You don't have to vote for an empire built on war, slavery, and usury. That benefits a royal European bloodline. You can vote against empire. You can vote for peace. You can vote for freedom. You can vote for justice and redress. You can vote for marriage equality. You can vote for feminism, sustainability, and community instead of barbarity. You can vote for logic, truth, and reason instead of hatred, bigotry, and separatism, endless wars and war profiteering. You can choose life. You can choose the common good, and you can choose solutions that employ sharing over hoarding, choose love over fear. You can also choose a new form of government too. All information regarding that government can be found on my website, roseanneworld.com. There we have collectively devised a better system of representational government than the one now in power in Washington, D.C. Check it out. We must stop the prison military industrial complex here, and we can do that in California, and we can do it very easily simply by legalizing marijuana. The minute that happens, the machine that is ruining our country will be closed down because it is fueled by pot arrests. 6 in 10 prisoners are in jail for pot in America. And they are largely there due to racial profiling, which aids our corrupted system of justice, which is nothing more than class war and nothing less than racial injustice. I do have some faith now that white middle-class teenagers are going to prison for pot, and not just darker-skinned working-class kids, that America will wake up and see that giving its poor kids a choice between war and prison is another false choice. Especially when the cost of a college education would be far less expensive to those who foot the bill for the prison military industrial complex, who are the taxpayers, many of whom smoke pot. If for a joint, they can come in and take everything you own, including your home. Be aware of that. Be aware of that. That's part of the war on drugs. Locking up your own tax base is simply not smart at all, ladies and gentlemen. It's certainly not sustainable. We must end the drug war so that American teenage children are not prey any longer to be arrested for a joint at the height of their strength and sent to prisons to make paint. 90% of the house paint sold in America is made by American prison labor. Can you say privatized prisons? say Bergen-Belsen? Can you say Buchenwald? Those were indeed privatized prisons. And when the workers became too weak or too starved, they were moved to neighboring Auschwitz and ground up for fertilizer and for soap. Auschwitz is the blueprint for the prison military-industrial complex, which is owned by those who talk nonstop about morality and about their God, who is money. They are very, very devout. They are fundamentalists and free market fanatics. Of course, in their upside-down world, free markets actually means free markets for suppliers and buyers of slave labor. With impunity to sell human flesh. Well, we need a wall between their religion and our laws. Words can barely describe how tragic, futile, and destructive the war on drugs has been for our country and for the nation of Mexico. How many times must we point to the fact that the last time we tried prohibition, it resulted in a massive black market with violent, heavily armed gangs and bloody turf wars? The war on booze. Hello. The war on booze corrupted law enforcement officials and wasted an obscene fortune in public funds and manpower. In the end, we realized that people are going to get what they want: a manageable buzz, a short break from the pressures and disappointment in life, an altered state from the one they generally trudge along in. Damn it, if we're going to brag about how free we're supposed to be, well then we should have the right to the pursuit of happiness, no matter how temporary, whether it comes from a couple of cocktails or a puff on a cigarette that isn't supplied by big tobacco or the popping of a pill. Free country. If you become a nuisance, well, that's what public intoxication laws are for. Speaking of popping a pill, Americans are 5% of the world's people, but they consume 2/3 of the world's antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. We don't really have a war on drugs. We have a war on drugs that don't make money for pharmaceutical companies. For years, the war on drugs is a war on poor people. The war on drugs is a war waged by rich people on prescription drugs against poor people on street drugs. Seriously, who are we kidding? Speaking of pills, a bitter one to swallow is the sad fact that we're still fighting this battle against such entrenched opposition. There are some real die-hard attitudes out there. I'd like to ask a few pointed questions of those who still think they're fighting the good fight by continuing to support this disastrous so-called war on so many people's private habits and behavior. My first question is, shouldn't it bother you in the least to look around and see that the world's greediest, most remorseless drug lords are on your side? And are even more committed than you are to the policies you support? When conservative church-going moralizers find themselves marching under the same banner as murderous drug cartel kingpins, shouldn't they at least consider that they may be saluting the wrong flag? Huh? It really comes comes down to a case of our government bowing to pressures from the mega wealthy special interests that I've mentioned. The paramilitary drug cartels and the big growers in North and South America stand shoulder to shoulder with corporate giants who push pills and liquor on TV. Big tobacco and the aforementioned prison industrial complex are leading the race to the bottom. They bring the lobbying and marketing money that keeps selling the whole fishy business to the brainwashed moralists whose grandparents may have railed against Demon Rom the last time we enabled this insane prohibition racket, which serves only drug lords and criminals. When the prison military industrial complexes close down, we can then grow hemp, which will save our asses. We can make, if it was legal to grow hemp right now, I could employ hundreds of thousands of Americans by creating fuel, homes, food, shelter, rope for pennies. We've lost confidence in the leaders of this nation, and therefore our consent to be governed by sociopaths and war profiteers needs to be revoked due to their unfettered war against living human beings around the globe who are counted as not human beings but as collateral damage. My conscience has moved me to speak on behalf of the children of the world and of their mother's plight and of the bravery of the men who love them. I'm running on a platform of truth, and I am also the first and only candidate to sign the truth pledge that I will never lie to the American people. And I challenge all other candidates to sign this pledge with me, much as the pledge required by Grover Norquist was signed by all Republicans and by all Blue Dog Democrats, that states that no matter how bad it gets for the parents of the American heroes who went to war in Iraq, no matter how much they suffer, taxes will never be raised on the upper 1% of 1% of 1% who are the billionaires. Thank you. Sometime where war is illegal and pot is not. Thank you.
Roseanne Barr.
Of course I'm going to say power to the people!
Roseanne will be right back after this commercial announcement.
I forgot to say this too. If you can find it in your heart to make a donation to my campaign, which goes to pay the people who are doing the work in the Peace and Freedom Party, it's not for free. It's not free that we have elections. We don't have free elections in any sense of the word. And so if you could see your way to contributing something, I sure would appreciate it. Thank you again.
In fact, that's our commercial announcement. We'll be talking about what we can do to help Roseanne, and in about 5 or 10 minutes she'll be back. So everyone, while you're waiting for her return, please fill out the voter registration card if you haven't already. The reason for that is we need a political party in this country that is to the left of the two 1% parties that we have. And the only way to do that is to gain about 40,000 more registrants in California. Here's a tip though, you can still vote for anybody you want in any election. It doesn't matter anymore what party you're registered with, but it matters so that we can stay on the ballot and run candidates like Roseanne Barr and 4 years ago Ralph Nader. So please fill out those forms.